Who is Donald Trump betraying, Ukraine or the United States? And how do our massive strikes on Russia strengthen our negotiation position? These and other topics we will discuss right now. My name is Iryna Uzlova, and today with us is Michael Sheitelman, political strategist. Michael, hello, glad to see you. Thank you for joining us.
And good evening, Iryna.
So we see more than 400 drones attacked Russian Federation. Michael, how do you think? How did the large-scale Ukrainian strike on Russian military targets on the night of December 11 change the strategic landscape? Does this attack strengthen Ukraine's position ahead of any potential and current negotiations?
Well, I can't say it is that one strike is influenced the position on negotiation, but the general vector of destroying Russian oil industry is influence the negotiation position. And what we had this night, the new thing is the strike on oil platform in Caspian Sea, which is absolutely new reality. And this is one of the biggest oil platform or one of the biggest oil deposits in Caspian Sea, on the Russian part of Caspian Sea. And 4 drones struck the platform, and the platform stopped working, and 20 deposits, they just stopped to receive oil from 20 deposits. And this is the new reality, because if Ukrainian army and Ukrainian forces could strike these platforms, it means that it could continue these strikes, It could continue these strikes. And the question, is it legal or not, received the support from President Trump. Because just this night, President Trump mentioned that American army struck the tanker, oil tanker in Venezuela. And the White House, I don't remember who it was, but somebody from White House officials, they published that this Venezuelan tanker was under sanctions during the years. Oh yeah, they not struck that, they just captured that, So the legalization of what was that they are under sanctions, so why not? But Ukraine also struck platform of Lukoil company, and Lukoil is under American sanctions. And the same thing happened today in the Black Sea, where 3 Ukrainian sea drones struck also oil tanker of Russian Federation, which is also in the sanctions list. So generally, it is just our army just follow the American sanctions, what we could see now on the screen. So that is very interesting tactic. But speaking about negotiation, we are now in absolutely mess in that. That President Trump called our war a mess. Like, we don't know where is the exit from that, and why it started, and why it continued for years, and it is absolutely a mess, and I agree with President Trump. But now peace process is absolutely mess. We receive couple of new peace plans every day, and now we just don't know what is our position, what is Ukrainian position, European position, American position. We receive in each hour some news about this plan, some new paragraphs of this plan, and it is stranger and stranger things. And it is difficult to believe for some part of these American offers. So it is very difficult to comment also.
Michael, I would like to clarify such moments about our attacks against Russian oil industry. We also really attacking Russian tankers. You mentioned about it, not at first time. These sanctions are more effective than Western restrictions. I think so, to my humble opinion. I see we are destroying the oil industry in all aspects: oil refineries, ports, and sea tankers. And really, the sea tankers are nobodies at all. So we can destroy Russian economical process in different ways, attacking such all aspects of Russian oil industry?
We could decline that, but not to destroy, because we don't have so long-range drones. We couldn't we couldn't beat them in Baltic Sea. We couldn't beat them in Pacific Ocean or in Northern Sea. And our only sea where we could do that, this is the Black Sea. And now we started the Caspian Sea, which is the new one. But in Baltic Sea, it is occasionally, couple of times we struck something in Baltic Sea, but this is not. We couldn't call that systematic approach to Baltic Sea. So we are rather limited, and Black Sea, as far as I know, it is something like quarter of the Russian oil industry. We have also in other harbors connected to oil industry. So it is painful for Russians, but not deathly painful.
Yes, but we will see that it has a lot of effects in general, so we will prolong these attacks. Yes, we see, as you mentioned, Michael, a lot of plans. One plan, two, four, three, second, a lot of plans during these days about Russian-Ukrainian negotiation process. And why are there so many plans we see? Because there is no one or at least several clear strategies at all?
No, it is not connected to the strategy. Generally, when we see the plan of 28 points, we could say that just a couple of them is important, and all other points doesn't matter. Just doesn't matter, and they're just something to negotiate, something to have a conversation when you meet Putin. You couldn't conversate about one point during 5 hours. You should discuss something. So you discuss some bullshit about nuclear stations, or I don't know, or Russian language, or Orthodox Church, or something. Nobody cares about that generally on a diplomatic level. And the only thing which is important is the territorial question. That is the only thing. And the only thing is Ukrainian government or Ukrainian state is ready to withdraw troops from Ukrainian territory and to give up this territory to Russians. That is the only question in this negotiation. Obviously, no. The answer is obviously not, because if yes, so Ukrainian army couldn't start defense in this war. We could just give this all of our territory to Russians in 2022, but we didn't do that. In 2014. But our army did not do that. So why Ukrainian army should do that now? There is no reason, just no reason for that. Sorry. And this war does not have any exit in the middle, any exit without Russian should win and to win and to take all the Ukrainian territories, or Russians should change their goals in this war. And we didn't change from 2022.
Yes, and they will never change it, Michael, because all Russian spokesmen, like Press Secretary of Russian dictator Dmitry Peskov, like their Minister for Foreign Affairs Sergei Lavrov, they both talk about general motives, first motives of this war, about demilitarization, denazification, and all this. And they declare every day that their goals are stable and that's all.
So it is because they have resources to continue the war, and the only resolution of this war is to take the resources from Russian Federation, that they couldn't continue that, and
Yes.
in this case they change their goals. That's it. That is just that. And obviously Western world and Ukraine did not enough for bringing Russia to the peace process. And to start peace process, then Russians, they are not ready to this. This is not useless. I don't say this is useless, or I don't say that it is senseless. No, no, no. It has a certain sense, obviously. The process itself has certain sense, yeah. But we shouldn't wait for immediate result in this, I say.
Yes, because we and our Western partners should destroy Russian economy and Russian Federation at all. But now we see that it seems to me that Donald Trump even doesn't know how to make it. But he has a lot of tools and laws against Russian Federation. But he's waiting for what?
Well, this question, I believe you should ask President Trump.
Yes, I
President Trump
understand, but
changes his position every week, or sometimes every day, or sometimes every hour. And just today, I read an interview with Mr. Friedman, who is the half official biographer of President Zelensky. And he said in this interview today, it was exactly interview about this stage of peace process. And he's very pessimistic about the potential result of this peace process. And he says that one of our problems in this peace process, that President Trump always follow the opinion of the last person he contacted with. Like how it works. Then at the beginning, Mr. Witkov brought the Putin's plan. And Mr. Witkov come to President Trump and says, wow, this is the plan which Putin is ready. Great, says Trump. Just persuade Ukrainians and we'll sign that. And afterwards, we had a couple of meetings in Geneva and the meeting in Abu Dhabi. No, it was not Abu Dhabi, it was in Riyadh. And immediately after that, President Trump met with Marco Rubio. Marco Rubio said, wow, this is the great plan. We discussed that if Ukrainians it was agreed with Ukrainians, so this is our current peace plan. And Trump says, wow, this is the great plan. Call Witkov and says, took this plan, bring it to Putin, and that Putin should sign that. Putin says, no, I will not sign that. And then they come to the next lap. And on the next lap, Witkov again come to Trump with the plan of Mr. Putin. And we continue with laps and continue forever. That's it.
Is Trump relying on the opinion of his voters? Because several recent polls show that more than 60% of Americans support providing support to Ukraine. And they say about really direct peace for us and fair peace, not about supporting Russian Federation.
Generally, as I heard from Mr. Trump or President Trump, he does not believe to the media. He does not believe to opinion polls. And he says, no, you organized not the right opinion polls. And he says it to Republican press, not to Democratic press, obviously. He says it to Fox News, for example, or for Wall Street Journal, which is owned by Rupert Murdoch, a Republican. And he says it is wrong opinion poll. The real opinion is like that and that and that. So he does not believe in opinion polls. But this is very sorry. Yeah. But last week, maybe some game changer happened in the United States. Then city mayor of Miami was elected. This is the Democratic city mayor of Miami. And this is the first Democratic candidate who won this election during last 26 or 28 years. And maybe, potentially, President Trump could believe that he does something wrong in this case, yeah? Because this is not opinion poll. This is not the op-ed in some news outlet. This is not just the opinion of his advisor, which he does not like. This is the fact on the ground. And this is difficult to neglect this fact on the ground. I believe that, except of his own mind, President Trump believes also on facts on the ground. And this is the fact.
But the fact on the ground, on our battlefield, shows, for example, even these situations, that Russian Federation cannot win. And our chief of Ukrainian forces, Alexander Syrsky, during this week reported few times about it to show Donald Trump that Russian Federation is weak and their territorial wins are very even empty and small. Does Donald Trump see these realistic conditions?
Russian Federation is weak or Russian Federation is strong is just opinion. It could be opinion of one man or another man, so this is just opinion. And the only opinion that President Trump could support is his own opinion. So he doesn't care about opinion of Syrsky or anybody else, or Zelensky or Macron or somebody.
Sorry, but we see that Russian Federation occupied more than 1% our territories for all these 20-25 years.
Exactly, 0.5% or something like that.
Yes.
But this is very, the fact which is difficult to understand. The easy fact is who is the city mayor of Miami. This is very easy fact. And you could just understand this guy or this girl.
Yes.
Democratic girl or Republican guy. That's it. And when you discuss how many percent and how many percent in total, 100 to how many, out of how many percent, and what was it in 2022, 2023, you need to analyze that, to see it, to think, to analyze, to compare, and comparison and analysis. This is not the strong side of President Trump, obviously.
But it's difficult to me really to understand why doesn't Donald Trump see that Russian Federation shows such small territorial wins, really.
He is not so good in math like you, no.
Okay.
He has another strong side. He's good with money, with gold, not with math.
And he doesn't know that our Ukrainian Crimea is peninsula. And
well, he is not good in facts. He is not good in geography. It is difficult to find anything there he is good. Except of gold, obviously, a little bit money, some kind of women, but some kind who participate in Miss Universe, and in some reality shows he is good. And this is our biggest problem. He is good in winning election, and that is the fact. This guy is very good in winning election. He is the world champion in winning election, because he is only second president in U.S. history of 2050 years who won election twice, but not one after other, but with the period between them. This is the only second time in the history. It is very difficult. And he knows how to win election, which does not mean that he knows how to rule the state or something like that, or he knows the facts or something like that. This is not his strong side. His strong side is to win election. Why I come back and return again to an example of city mayor of Miami. Because election, it is something which is understandable by Trump. Understandable. He understands what is to win election and what is to lose election and how to do that. He absolutely understands that. So for him, this is the fact. And ocean or not ocean, when you live in New York and he is from New York, you don't have any sea in New York. You have only ocean. And you don't know that exists some sea also, not only ocean.
Mm-hmm. Clear. So I understand now that his attitude to Russian dictator or to Ukraine, his losing or win in the question of Russian-Ukrainian war will not be an obstacle to his future elections to Congress at all?
This is not his election. The future election to Congress is the election of a lot of people, a lot of representatives of Republican Party and Democratic Party, but not Mr. Trump himself, not President Trump himself. And here, I just hesitate. I just can't say. I can't go inside the head of President Trump. this is not ironic, this is very serious. I just don't know what is his goals about this election. I don't know if he is interested in win of Republican Party or not. I mean, if he cares about that or not. Maybe he cares only about his presidency, because after this election campaign, which will happen in 1 year, he will have less than 2 years of his last presidency. And he knows that this is very short time. This is not a lot of time. And he knows that the next year, 2026, it is his last heydays in his life. Last heydays of his life. Exactly next year. This first year, was first year of his new presidency, and he had a training period or something. And next year is the most decisive year of his presidency and of his political life. He had some another private life or business life, but in political life, next year is the most important. And he can't simultaneously to win, to rule American nation and state, and to rule the world, or democratic world or something, and to change a world, and to win election. So I believe that this is not his first care, let's say, this election. I believe that his first care more his own position, his own decisions as a president of United States, decision about the inner life in the United States and the outside life of international relationship. But I can't say that this is the true 100%. But it looks like he cares more about that than about midterm election.
In all these different plans, we know one thing, that there are several most controversial issues, among them the territorial issue and the issue of security guarantees. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky, while speaking with journalists, stated that possible territorial questions should be decided by the people of Ukraine through elections or a referendum. But Michael, we understand that we don't understand how to hold either elections or referendum under martial law, under permanent attacks from Russian Federation. As for me, it's unreal future.
Yes, and today the not chairman but the deputy chairman of Ukrainian Parliament. He gave the speech about that on some TV channel, and he brought the list of problems which is not allowed to organize election now, and what a list of laws which should be changed on that. And he said, obviously, it will not be easy in Parliament because each law is a very long discussion, and part of the problems he just doesn't know how to resolve that. How to resolve, for example, the participation of military personnel in the election. Not only, there is a big difference between election and voting, yeah? We don't speak about voting process and about the security of voting process. We are speaking about security of election process, which means not about 1 day, which means about 3 months. During these 2-3 months, military personnel should be free for participate in this election and not to stay on the military positions against Russian forces. And during these 3 months, Ukrainians who live now in Europe should come back to Ukraine and to watch TV, for example. And we should to build again the TV networks instead of our military TV channel, which is Marathon, etc. So we should organize, if we organize election, it should be a full-scale election, not some pseudo-election like in Russian Federation, not faked election like in Russia. We should organize the real election, if we are real democracy. And Ukrainian nation does not want fake election. And to organize true election, it is very difficult. It's very difficult. It is almost almost impossible. The same about referendum, because you should first to go through long process in parliament about this referendum. It is not easy. And by the way, as far as I remember, Declaration of Independence described the territory of Ukraine and not the constitution of Ukraine, which is also interesting, yeah? So by referendum, you can't change the Declaration of Independence of Ukraine. You could change only the constitution. So it is one more question. And obviously all of these processes, they are processes of months and years. And it doesn't bring to the peace immediately.
So what will we see around all these peace plans and peace process and summits between Ukrainian representatives, European representatives, American representatives in the coming days? We will see some correct result, or it's only now like preparation for future plans?
No, plans, they are not important. The will of nation is important, but not the plans. And when President Zelensky says that Ukrainian nation should decide on election or referendum, he does not mean about formal procedure. He means about the will, nation will.
Yes.
And when we make now some opinion poll, we could see that the big majority of Ukrainians are not ready to recognize any part of Ukraine as part of Russian Federation, and this is political will of Ukrainian nation. And this is the point in any negotiation generally. That's it. And doesn't matter how many points you will write down on the paper in any new plan. And now the question is what Russians want. If they want to continue the war, to lose 1 more million people or 2 million people
Or 3.
in Russian Federation or 3 million people of Russians. That is the question to Russians, I don't know.
Because Putin doesn't count and doesn't care at all. He has his imperial ambitions without any changes. Michael, thank you very much for this conversation, for your position, for all your opinions and thoughts. See you next week. Take care.
Thank you, Iryna. Bye.
Michael Sheitelman, political strategist. My name is Iryna Uzlova. Guys, thank you for joining and watching us. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel, War and Politics 24, and to Michael's channel, Sheitelman. See you. Take care.